Hey everybody, this is the CSS Frameworks talk, or as I'm going to call it, the how to style your own website easily by taking CSS that other people make and using that for yourself. I'm Kieran, I'm sysadmin in Spirit, aka I'm a HLM from Netsoc. I did this talk last year and this one is way better, 100% guaranteed, because I put more thought into this one. So before we begin, I don't even know my own slides off by heart. Shouldn't have redone it, to be honest. So I've got a little roadmap. So this is broken down into 4 steps, or parts. Part 1, we're just going to do a quick intro to HTML, CSS so that we're all on the same page. We know what all that stuff is, all the cool stuff. Part 2, we're going to talk about the frameworks. Part 3, I'm going to do, I guess you could call it a case study or an example. We're going to build it up step by step. And part 4 is a mystery. Ooh. So we're going to start with what is HTML, CSS. Some of you might know the answer, but just so we're all on the same page. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. And you use it to make websites. Here's a little website. I used to have an example for this one, but I forgot to upload it. So this is a simple website. It's got a title, which is what appears up on like your top bar, whatever the hell that's called. Tab, thank you. And then it's got a body, and it just has a title, or a H1, which says, welcome to my first web page. Nice and easy. And then we've got CSS, which you can use to style your website. So basically, you have a set of selectors, and you've got rules. So basically, this says body has a background color of whatever the hell that is. The text color is black. The font family is monospace, which is this font family. It's nice. If you're a programmer, you'll know about. And we're coloring the H1s, all of them are going to be colored white. So it's basically just saying, take this thing, do this thing to it. Nice and easy. You can also do it inline in your HTML, but just don't do that. Keep them separate. So yeah, nice and easy to start with. If anyone has any questions at any time, by the way, just shout it out, because this is going to be pretty quick otherwise. So I mean, if you want to go home early, don't ask your questions. It's fine. It's up to you. So coming on to part 2, which is the CSS that other people make, or frameworks, I guess you could call them. I took this from Wikipedia. Don't cite Wikipedia if you're writing actual reports or papers, because this doesn't work. Wikipedia says a CSS framework is a pre-prepared software framework that is meant to allow for easier, more standards-compliant web design using the cascading style sheets language. So I took that and I said, that's a bit over the top and doesn't really say the essentials. So I kind of broke it down. And I said a CSS framework is a collection of CSS and sometimes JavaScript files, which make it easier to keep your web pages styled consistently. And in a nutshell, that is exactly what they are. We've got a couple of examples. Most of you might know Bootstrap if you know any CSS framework at all, because I think it's the most popular one. Then we've also got Bulma. Spoiler alert, I'm going to be using Bulma for my example. Ooh. We've also got Materialize, which if any of you have used Netsoc admin before, you'll recognize, because that's what we use for most, if not all, of Netsoc web services. Yeah? Not on the website. Not on the website. That's most, if not all. I saved my own bacon there. So, as I said, we're going to be using Bulma for my example. And what is the example? Well, it's going to be a small website about me, because I'm full of myself. So we're going to talk about me for this entire talk. It's going to contain some basic details about myself, only the important ones, because I don't want to be here all night, because I will talk about myself all night. Provide a contact form for people who want to email me and ask me any questions about how cool I am. And it has to look nice, because I'm shallow like that. Nice and easy set of instructions. So we'll get started, and I'm not going to go through everything here because there's scroll bars, but it's all, I have an example prepared, and it's all up on GitHub. You can have a look to your heart's content after the fact. But here's just some HTML, making a website about me. We can have a quick look at it. We go here. So there it is. Doesn't look very great, but we'll deal with that. So it says, Kieran Broderick is one of the coolest people you'll ever meet. You should try and hang out with them whenever you can and also give them pizza. And that's a quote from my mom. It's a true quote, I swear. My education, I've got a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science in UCC. I don't actually have it yet. I've got a Master of Science in Pizza from Netsoc, because, yeah. And I've got a PhD in Giving Hugs, School of Life. My work experience, I'm a sysadmin at UCC Netsoc, or was, and I'm a programmer in general, and there's a contact form. So it fills the first 3 requirements of my 4 requirement example, but it doesn't look very nice because it's basic HTML, unless you like basic HTML, in which case we're done. But I wouldn't have a tech talk to give if I was done with this. So we'll come back here, and what we're going to do is we're just going to just add Bulma. Not even going to do anything else. We're just going to add the Bulma CSS file they provide. So to do this, you need to do 2 things. You need to add a meta tag. That's for mobile responsive. Every framework in the list I gave will tell you to add that. It just allows your website to be responsive, so it looks good on mobile too. And the other thing we need to add is our style sheet, which is this line here, saying, give me Bulma, this file here, min.css. Yeah, I know, thanks. I didn't have time to fix the colors of it looks fine up here, but not in there. And if we take a look at our example, just by adding Bulma, it's already done a couple of things. So what it's done is it's given us a nice font, I guess. It's gotten rid of all the titling, styling. It's gotten rid of the bullet points from the LI, from the list items. But it's given us a nice font. So I mean, it was kind of a win-lose situation. So going forward, we're going to just be working with Bulma. Most of the stuff I'll be talking about for this applies to the other frameworks that I mentioned. There are some subtle differences between the 3 and the others. God knows how many others there are. So it really depends on which one you want. If you want to find your own and kind of follow along, there will be some things different, but most of the things will be the same. So first thing I noticed when I added Bulma was it got rid of my titles. So what Bulma tells you to do is it says add a class to your H tags called title. And that's how all CSS frameworks are going to work. You just add classes to things. That's it. And that's literally the only change from the last website and the one I'm about to show you. But you can see it already starts giving some consistent styling. Now it doesn't obey the rules of having H1s bigger than H2s or anything, but it'll be fine, because screen readers will still read them as different importance, so it's okay. No need to panic. So after that, we're going to add what's called a container, which I think is in most, if not all. It's in all 3 of my examples anyway. And a container is basically a thing that contains other things. And different frameworks will use containers differently. Bulma's one, I think it provides a 70% width and centered in the screen. So it kind of just brings things in and it balances the 2 sides evenly. So kind of nice, it gives you a nice, contained website, if you'll pardon the pun. So then what we're going to do is, if you look at the last slide, Bulma hasn't touched the form, so it still looks the same as pretty much the same as what it did in the first example. So we're going to touch that up a bit, and there's quite a lot of code here. Bulma basically says, put your fields inside a div called field, give your label a class label, and put your inputs inside a div with class control and give them class input. And for text area, it's the same, but it gives you a class text area. And then I also gave my input button some styling. For the most part, if you're styling buttons, you'd usually give either the forward button or just btn as a class, and then you can do all kinds of other things. But what that does is it makes the form. You can't see the borders. I'll hover over them, but it gives it a nice kind of not normal HTML look, I guess. It gives them a nice modern look to them, you know. Looks really cool, yeah. And also, it gave my button a nice green color and pulled it over to the right because I said is pulled right. Point. I'm just going to keep speeding through. So if you have any questions, just shout them out. So one of the this is also unique to Bulma as far as I'm aware. So you saw when we added Bulma at the start, it got rid of like the bullet points for your list items, or I think that was the only thing it got rid of besides the titles. So what Bulma says to do is wrap them in a div called content, and that basically puts in the styling it got rid of. So you can see. Oh, okay, well.
If you minimize it, like make it smaller.
Oh yeah, this was the thing you had to deal with.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't make it any better.
Make it black. Make it black in the background.
So you can see the responsive nature. You see, is it like, thanks color, you gave me a way to show this off. You can see it's like reacting to as the screen gets bigger and smaller, and you'll never really see that when you're actually using a website unless you're doing that. But if I pull up a CMD. Nope, hasn't fixed anything. It's all right. So just trust me. You'll see it if you look on my slides afterwards. This thing has a nice grey background that makes it stand out. Just trust me, it's there. It also brought back in our list item points, and it gave just a bit more space around everything in general. Some of the other ones, I actually have examples from two other frameworks of this exact same website. So you'll kind of see like the differences. I do show off all the source code, but I don't think you want to be looking at source code at a time like this, especially on a projector. So just trust me. So that's pretty much. I'm pretty happy with this. I mean, it looks better here than it does here, but it's fine. And I've put the whole code here, so you can have a look at it in your own time if you want to. But if you look at the title of the card, it says Bulma. Oh, what are the other cards going to be? Well, I actually made the same website I ruined it, I told you already. I actually made the exact same web page, or it's close enough to the exact same web page in the other two frameworks I mentioned earlier, so we can compare them. So this is what Bootstrap looks like. Doesn't look all that different. My button is a kind of sickly shade of green instead of a nice teal color. The font is a bit different. It's a bit more condensed down. Bootstrap actually gives no styling to block quotes by default, which it kind of upset me. And then I've also got Materialize, which is what my slideshow is made in as well, because last year's talk was on Materialize. And that one, you can't see anything. I should have remembered this from last year. So I've added a nice little pink thing to the block code. There's borders around these you can't see. The borders around these you can't see. And if you have an Android phone, you'll recognize these forms with the cool, where you click on it and the placeholder goes up here and it all lights up. That's pretty cool. I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. So yeah, like it's as you could see, or as I hope, I don't know. It was pretty easy to get this far. It was as easy. It was about 6 or 5 steps to get Materialize and Bootstrap to the same point as Bulma. And then there's so much more documentation on all kinds of things on all their respective websites to show you all the other stuff, because there's so much more to CSS frameworks than what I showed you. I just gave a basic example to show you how easy it could be. I think these took me 20 minutes on a train to make, but I know what I'm doing. So give yourself maybe 30 if you're not familiar with them, but I swear it's really easy. So that is the example part. We're going to get into something kind of new and cool, hopefully cool, in a second. So if anyone has any questions now about the stuff, ask away. No? Okay. Prepare yourself, because this is about to get really cool. Oh. Yes, really cool. Yeah, I totally meant for this. So another thing that frameworks will give you is a grid system. X1 stands for extra thing 1. It's not very good naming, but yeah. So most, if not all, of CSS frameworks, especially the ones I mentioned, come with a row and column-based grid system. Using this, you can create responsive layouts that take up to x over 12 as the width allowed at all times. It's usually 12. Some things might do other numbers, but for the most part, it's 12 columns. And I have a nice little example. This is how Bulma does it. So you can see your 12 columns. And if you want something to take up 5 columns, you just say it's 5. Bootstrap says, call MD number. So Bootstrap materialized you a thing where you say it's a column, and then you say small, medium, large screens, how many columns it takes up. Bulma has one as well. It's just, this was the easiest way to point it out. And of course I have an example, because task clearing is great. So I just basically took the education and work experience and put them inside a columns div, and then made education take up 5 columns and work experience take up 7. And I also gave them a border so you could see it, to prove that I'm not just lying. So you can see the little blue border. So the one on the left is 5 columns wide, and the one on the right is 7. And just to prove it is responsive once. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. Go away. Oh, God. There we go. So again, it grows in size like everything else on the web page, and that's the same for the other 2 as well. I didn't do the other 2 as an example, so I hope you get the picture. Yeah. Okay, I think now is the really cool thing. So any questions? So I'm gonna have you like clear of questions and ready to go, because this is about to get crazy. Okay, I trust you. It's going to get overhyped now, I swear. Okay. Other things you can typically expect from CSS frameworks. Alerts or notifications. So you got like a colored banner up the top or down the bottom or wherever you want them to show up. The 3 I mentioned all have those. They've got styling rules for those. Cards or panels. Panels. Oh. This is a card. Thanks, Colin. Audience participation, I love it. Nav bars and tabs, so like your sticky nav bar up the top or tabs. I should have prepared examples for these in hindsight, but look. And so much more. Because these things are pretty massive. They've got loads of stuff. Some of the stuff you probably won't even need. And we can get on to customizing it in a second. And the really cool thing that I swear to God better be coming up, or I'm going to start doubting my past self. Okay. Just going to take a drink. I have to prepare myself mentally now to see, is it what I think it is, or did I put in anything extra in? Okay. Are you ready for what is hopefully on the next slide? Yes, okay. The question marks, the mystery. So hopefully, I don't know, I probably haven't been getting the point across a lot. These things are really big. These things take a ton of work from people. And hopefully, what I hope at least one of you out there is thinking is, damn, that probably takes a lot of work. Or isn't this a hell of a lot of work for people? And you're right. Or is it a whole lot of work for computers? Well, let's find out. Because I'm going to talk to you about a really cool thing called CSS preprocessors, which are cool. So what if we could do programming stuff in CSS? So anyone who's used CSS knows you can't do for loops in CSS, which is kind of, really sucks. But look, I guess that's how it is. But what if I told you we could do for loops in CSS? You could do a whole lot of other cool things with a whole lot less work. Maybe like make a CSS framework. And there are three big ones. I just took an image off Google Images of. I was looking for Sass and Less because those are the 2 I know, but I don't know what Stylus is. Maybe it's another one. Check it out if you want. But the 2 I know are Less and Sass, mostly Sass. Less is used by Bootstrap. Sass is used by the other 2 and they're all used a whole lot more for more things because they're really cool. Trust me. Because I only learned about them when I was making these slides, and they're really cool. So, yeah. So we're going to talk about Sass, or SCSS, as you might see. They're interchangeable. It's all Sass, but they have two syntaxes. Yeah, as Noah pointed out. Thanks, Noah. Sass stands for syntactically awesome style sheets. There we go. I'm good at reading English. And according to their website, it's the most mature, stable, and powerful professional-grade CSS extension language in the world. I mean, they're modest, you know. So what can it do? Well, as I said, it does programming things. You've got variables. So you can do color is this thing. That's my favorite color, by the way, in case you want to write it down. Don't know if you would. It's the background of the slides. You can import other files. Import other. Don't ruin the talk. Apparently you can do it in CSS now. I didn't know this. You can do maths. You can do maths. There's calc, isn't there?
Variables you can yeah.
Well, CSS preprocessors variables and yeah. At least I didn't say what can't CSS do. Bullet dodge there. You can do arrays, dictionaries, loops, and nesting. We'll get on to nesting in a second. Does anyone know if CSS have any of those?
No.
They don't, or you don't know? Okay, cool. There is something worth learning here, so okay, cool. Yeah, so we're going to make a rainbow. It's pretty self-explanatory. So what we're doing is, we've got a HTML site, we've got title is Sassy Rainbow, because it's Sass. And what I've done is I've made 7 divs and given them 2 classes, stripe and then is color in order of rainbow colors. Is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Nice and easy. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the whole SCSS file, which is Sass, they're interchangeable, and then we're going to break it down. So this is the whole thing. I used calc there. So this is it. It's nice and easy, but there's some things that look funky, so we'll go into it in detail. So we're first going to do a map. Anyone who knows Python, it's a dictionary. Got your name and your value. It's cool, right? Yeah, it's cool. So I've just made 7 colors, given them all the name of the color and their hex value. Nice and simple. Then we got nesting. I don't think CSS has this. No. Okay. So this is pretty cool. So I said stripe, .stripe, so this is the class stripe, do these 2 things. Give it a height, which is 100% of the height divided by 7, because 7 stripes in a rainbow. Make the text align center. And then inside that rule, I've said p tag, give it a color white. And what this essentially boils down to, when you generate the CSS, is you get stripe stuff, and then p inside stripe. So it's nothing like super special, but it does keep your things a lot neater, basically. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I hope. I find it really cool. Then we're going to do a for loop and templating and other things. So inside the stripe class, it didn't recognize this was CSS. So no syntax highlighting. So inside the stripe block, I've got a for each name and color in stripes. So that's the name and the value. And then I made ampersand dot is name, make it this color. So quite a lot to go through here. So when you're doing, if we go back a second. When we did this, dot stripe p, it became dot stripe space p. But what if we wanted to do dot p dot stripe to like get just p tags that were the stripe class? Well, that's what this thing here is. It's an ampersand. So what this does is it says pass this here. So it's dot stripe dot is color. So it says something that is both the class stripe and is red, orange, and green. Yeah. Give it the background color. I didn't have to do that, but showing off some cool things, so So then we'll put it all together. So you have to install the thing. So it's not, I don't know if you'll be able to do it in the lab PCs for those of you who use the lab PCs. Yeah, but you have, I found 3 according to their website. There's 3 different versions. There's one written in Ruby, if you like Ruby. There's one written in JavaScript, if you like JavaScript. There's one written in Dart, if you're on Mac OS. You can do, it's written in Dart currently. And you have to say SAS 3 times. They want you to get it very clear that you're using SAS. So when you've installed this, on your command line, you just run SAS, the file, your SCSS or SASS file, and then the output file, so we'll call it rainbow.css, which if we go back a second, nope, oh, I didn't put it in, oh, okay. Damn, you passed me. Oh, there it is, okay. And you just make it like a normal style sheet, and with very little work, we've got a nice rainbow that I think is responsive. Gonna try it. Moment of truth. Oh, look at that! It stays to be 1/7. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's responsive. That calculates out at about 1/7 each. Yeah. So that's, I mean, that's pretty much all I came up with to talk about. So what are your questions, if you have any?
What language is that?
Crystal. Or Ruby. It's up to you. If you like Ruby, it's Ruby. If you like Crystal, it's Crystal. No? We all good? We all good.
Does it work in every browser?
Does which?
This frameworks.
Yeah, so frameworks have, I think they strive for cross-browser, or at least the ones that's recommended to go, like you're not going to find a framework that works on IE8 because that's gone. Don't support IE8, please, it's not worth your time. But yeah, like these frameworks are good for cross-browser support. They'll tend to do things, they might do things slightly differently depending on the browser, but you'll get the same basic gist. Yeah, it's a good question. Any other questions?
Do they like restrict you to that style then, or is it easy to change it much so?
Oh, that's actually a very good point, and I was meant to put in a slide about this. So the reason I showed you SAS and less is because Bootstrap is written in less, and the other 2 are written in SAS. And instead of getting their compiled CSS file, what you can do is you can download their SAS files or the unprocessed files, and then import them or change them, write your own, like change the style a bit. So if you say, I mean, I like Bulma, but like their font choice would be better. You could also just do it in normal CSS, but you could download all their SAS files, change the font to whatever you want it to be, compile it all up again, and then put it in. So that was my first experience with it, and then I actually started learning it properly, and it's a lot cooler than I thought it was. So I learned it out of necessity, but now it's pretty cool. So yeah, you're not like stuck into it. If you could even, I'm not gonna say like super easily, but you could pretty easily change between 2, and it should, because they all follow similar enough conventions that it should be easy enough for you to change everything you're doing over to another one. Any others? Not going to bite, promise. I was hoping for a lot more questions, which is why I made my talk really short. All right then. So yeah, if you want, as I said, if you want to see the slides, they're here, kernelpanic.netsoc.co. They'll be up on Netsoc admin on Facebook as well. And if you want to see the code behind the slides, you can go to my GitHub and also give it a star, because I'm shy like that. Remember? It all ties back into it. Yeah. You don't actually have to star it. It's yes, you do. If you don't star it, I'm not coming back. I'm kidding. But yeah, thanks all so much for coming. I think Sam has an announcement to make just before we finish up, but thank you.
Yeah, just quickly, the event next week is Oktoberfest. So GitHub are running an event for October called Oktoberfest, where if you contribute to 5 PRs, then you get a T-shirt, I think.
Pull requests.
Pull requests. So there'll be more information about it next week, including like a demo and stuff, and an intro to Git. And then also, if anyone has any open source projects that they'd like to demo as well, you can get onto us and give a demo of them. So, yeah.
We don't really have a room yet. It might be
Oh yeah,
here. Or
the room will be announced on Facebook. Yeah.
and EGM.
Oh yeah, and EGM next Tuesday. 6 positions. So come along if you're interested. One first-year sysadmin position, one first-year gaming team, first-year 2 OCMs, and a gaming team as well. So come along if you're interested.
He's the MVP of the night. I just paused a little. Yeah, thanks all so much. Hopefully you learned something too, and yeah, please go start my repo. Oh yeah, stop the recording. Jesus, that would be awkward.